There are two very player-friendly events going on this week in Etheria Restart, and I want to tell you the best way to approach them so you get the absolute most out of them. Both these events were actually introduced kind of as a compensation with some funkiness that happened between the global launch and the most recent update, but at least the events are here, so what am I talking about? We have the reintroduction of the reconfigure event, the Animus reconfigure. This is a hero reset, an Animus reset. You can do it once for free, you can do a second time for 200 crystals, and you can do a third time for 400 crystals. There's definitely a best way to approach this, and I really want to break that down for you. This character reset event kicked off yesterday, but it's still going to run for over 5 days. So definitely be sure, if you can, follow my tips and make the best use out of this. Additionally, this Saturday and Sunday, we have a pretty crazy event that a lot of us were worried wasn't going to happen. This was heavily featured during the beta and essentially is double drops. So for multiple game modes in the game, you enter for the same amount of energy, the same stability, but you get 2x of everything. And that is obviously extremely powerful. So this is the Blessing Galore event, and you will see it will be this Saturday, June the 21st, and it will run Saturday and then Sunday, June the 22nd. During that event, Investigation, Threshold, and GP Outpost will all have double drops. Just straight up double drop rates, the same stability to enter as always. It's going to be your 10 entrants, but you're getting double drops on everything. And it really can't be overstated how powerful that is. However, I've seen some really extreme strategies being thrown out there without giving proper consideration to the spending level, the playing level of all the viewers and players that might be consuming that content. So I really wanted to clear up what I think is the best way to approach this and do some very quick math for you. Also, guys, if you're not yet playing Etheria Restart, I've got my link in the description and the top pinned comment. I really could not recommend it enough. This game is so good. It's obviously only been just about 2 weeks, but it is as hype as it was day one. I'm very happy. There was a little turbulence between week 1 and week 2, but the game's just a blast. So definitely consider downloading it. Check out that link in the description in the top pinned comment. Let's start with the simpler of the two events to break down, and that is going to be the Animus reconfigure. Basically, you really ought to make use of that first reset because it is free. I feel like some people are scared to reset their characters. Remember, resetting does not retire that character. It brings it back to base level. You're going to get a refund on all the resources you put in. So all of your XP materials, skill materials, star up materials, you're going to get all those shadow prints back. That is awesome. But it's not like once you reset a character, you can never use it again. And I've randomly seen some of that sentiment. If I'm going to reset someone, I can build them later on at a future date, just like you can. So definitely use this. If you have anyone at all on your roster who's built to any extent that you are not currently using in this moment and you don't envision using in the near future, I'm talking within the next week, definitely reset them. But remember, you only get one for free, so you want to make really good use out of this. If you're a pay-to-win player or you just have a huge stockpile of crystals, you can definitely go for a second and a third reset, but in those cases, I do think you should employ a different strategy. For that first reset, you should be resetting whichever Animus you have built up the most that you are not currently using and you won't be using through the weekend. You don't want to position yourself in some disadvantageous place heading into the biggest weekend in the game, right? Because this double drop rate thing is nutty. We're going to discuss that in just a minute. So I know a lot of people are actually resetting really good characters because they feel like they're less meta now or they don't need them. I know people have reset Heinrich because they're saying, well, I've got Holden now, and Holden's a bit better for PvE for what I want to accomplish, for my Terramaton, for my Aurora. As much as I hear that, me, as someone who owns both and actually has my most built character on the account as Heinrich, there's no way I'm going to last through the week and not be using Heinrich. And moreover, he's not an Animus I'm going to put off building for a while. I mean, he's a top tier unit. I still rate him as the second best SSR in this game. So for me, it doesn't make sense. If you've got a ton of optionality on your account and you know you can get away with rebuilding a character to the level of Heinrich in a week, 2-3 weeks, then sure, build that Holden up now. Again, it's not like your Heinrich can't be used in the future. You'll just have to rebuild him. That makes sense. For me, though, as a free-to-play player, and I think the case for most players, unless you're a big spender, you should just go for someone you are 100% confident you're going to reset, you're going to get a great refund, and you know you're not going to use them in the near future. So I really have two options on my account when we're discussing the most built-out units that I could get away with resetting because I really don't need them. And that's going to be 2 SR units actually and 2 5-star units. I haven't even 6-starred them yet. I only have the 3 6-stars on my account with Heinrich, Rosa, and D-Ting. But for me, that's going to be Sonia and it's going to be Gray. So why am I using these two less? Well, day 7, when we did our weekly quests and stuff, on day 7 in this game, we all got Ling Luo for free. And for me, with all the content I'm doing right now, Ling Luo, regardless of affinity, is strictly better than Sonya. Does that mean I'll never use Sonya in the future? Absolutely not. We could see content where you need SRs. We could see content where you need multiple teams, multiple healers. The new United Front that just entered the game. That all being said, though, right now, for the vast majority of content, there's no place I could even see using her. And even something like United Front, I'd rather just have her as a 4-star, not very developed, and just run her to the minimum. That's how I'm approaching it with my account, with my limited resources. So she's someone that is very resettable to me. Gray has also fallen out of favor on my account, just given my pulls. I pulled Kloss, who in a lot of ways is just a better version of Gray. That being said, I'm less eager to reset Gray because he's got the 100% chance on his decreased defense if I choose to skill this up, which is pretty easy given he's an SR as opposed to an SSR. And he's got the crit rate boost for any content I don't want to bring my Rosa. And finally, he has the extra turn mechanic that effectively makes all of this stuff a 3-turn cooldown, even without skill ups. He's got enough there that I'm not dying to reset him, even though I'm not using him at this moment. So between these two, Sonya is going to be my reset. You may be wondering, would it be worth a second reset of Gray? Remember, that is 200 crystals, which may not sound like much, but effectively, once you're spending the crystals, you're purchasing the refund of those materials, and I only think that has value if you're resetting someone that you 100% will not be using again for a long time. And I don't see that with Gray. I think I will use him in United Front. I think he's someone I will build down the road. I could really see him fitting into teams. Yes, maybe not this week as I use as an example, but sooner rather than later. So for that reason, my choice is Sonya. You can do these strategic choices and reset your Heinrich, but just be sure you're not resetting someone that you might want to use this weekend. And also don't be too scared about resetting because it's not like you can never rebuild that character. Though I think it's pretty important if you're resetting, just do someone where you don't see a risk. Do the highest built character on your account that you're just not using. It's really that simple. So for me, it is going to be Sonya, and they even give you a preview of everything you're going to get back. It's actually a ton, 144 investigation records, the gold ones. I mean, that's going to make a real boost on my account. I'm going to take this and go build my Holden right away. Yes, I can't use this directly to 6-star him, but I've gathered enough other materials on my account that I'll be able to 6-star him easily heading into the weekend, if not before then. So there is my reconfig. Thank you, Sonya, for all that stuff back. Now let's talk about the big event, and it is the double drops. I've heard a lot of crazy strategies being thrown out, and they're not actually as crazy as they sound, though I do think they're pretty extreme for the average player. So a lot of people are suggesting you fully buy out all your refills every day. The first one costs 60 Hydra crystals, the next 9 are 100. That comes out to 960 crystals a day for 1,000 stability. That's a lot, but people are saying to do that every single day. Don't do any extra farming, sacrifice all of your natural stability, your natural stamina regeneration, because the 2x is that valuable. And yes, it actually is that valuable. That being said, I don't think you should do this every day because the vast majority of us cannot afford that. If you're not a big spender, you do not have 5 days worth of 960 crystals a day to use. What does that come out to? Took a moment to do the math. I believe that's 4,800 crystals. That's just a ton. Yeah, right? Because it's nearly 1,000, then it's 40 times 5. Subtract the 200 from the 5,000, whatever. It's 4,800. 4,800 Hydra crystals. We just can't do that. Normal players, free-to-play players, low spend players, probably even some medium spend players. It's only the bigger spenders that can do that. However, you can take advantage of that general strategy. Why does this make sense, though? What is the math? Well, every hour in this game, if you're under whatever your account stability cap is, you can see for me right now it's 148, you are generating 12 stability per hour. It is 1 stability every 5 minutes. Over a 24-hour day, if you're efficient and you remain under the cap, you will generate 288 stability. Obviously, that generation is a lot less than the 1,000 you can purchase a day. That being said, the 1,000 you can purchase a day cost 960 crystals. So you're sacrificing 288 stability a day that you get for free, plus you're sacrificing the 960 crystals a day. That means effectively you're spending 960 crystals a day for 712 stability, right? The 1,000 you're purchasing minus the 288 that you're foregoing, okay? That's 712, but actually it's 1,424. right? It's 712 times 2 because you're getting the double bang for your buck with the double drop rates on Saturday and Sunday. So if you let that run here in an overflow, yes, you lose your natural generation, but you're gonna have a ton of stability to use on Saturday and Sunday when the efficiency is doubled. So that is pretty good. You're effectively spending 960 crystals a day for 1424 stability. That's how it's gonna manifest on the Saturday and the Sunday. But like I said, not everyone can do that. I certainly can't do that. So how am I approaching this? You can do a baby version of the strategy. Right now when I'm filming, it is Monday, June the 17th. What I'm gonna do is use all my natural generation, the 288 stability a day for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, I'm gonna use all that. And I'm even going to spend the 60 crystals for that first refill every day where I get 100 stability. That 6 to 10 ratio, that 3 to 5 ratio is superior to the 960 to 1424. That being said, when I get towards the end, Thursday and Friday, heading into Saturday and Sunday, and I can afford to spend the full 960 each day, I am going to do that. How am I going to time it out though? That's very key because you can do it very strategically and actually only waste 1 day's worth of natural generation. What am I talking about? Now, one key thing for min-maxing your stockpiling, right? So heading into that first day, you're gonna start stockpiling and laying off your naturally regenerating stuff. You wanna use it up at the right moment. What do I mean by the right moment? So in my example, the first day I'm gonna buy out and then stop using my naturally generating stuff and be in a surplus is gonna be Thursday, 2 days before the event starts on the weekend. However, you know you're generating 12 stability an hour, you can actually calculate how many hours before the reset heading into the next day before you should have your stability zeroed out. Now, what do I mean? We know we're generating 12 stability per hour, so it's going to be dependent on your specific stability cap, but for me, at 148, I know that in 10 hours, I will generate 120 stability. So in 12 hours, it's going to be 144. So if I have this thing perfectly zeroed out 12 hours before reset into Friday, the second day I'm going to be stockpiling, I can get a whole cycle of max efficiency, passive stability generation under my belt that will be added upon my stockpile heading into the weekend. So let's say I perfectly had this down to 4 stability on Thursday and my cap was still 148, 12 hours before reset. Over those 12 hours, I will generate exactly 144. I can wait till the very end right before reset. And then that's the moment I spend my 960 crystals, buy my 10 refills and my 1000 stability, and I go into excess and the natural stability generation stops.
Also at this time, claim your 100 stability from Union Check-In.
I know that seems a little complicated, but you're going to get a whole extra 14 runs that way, which effectively are 28 runs because of the 2x. It's pretty sweaty, but if you want to min-max, that's the way to do it. Also, guys, if you have been saving your mental stabilizers, and I hope you have because I was encouraging people to do so, you're probably like me and you have close to 60 right now, somewhere between 50 and 60. This 2x drop day is obviously the time to use it. All of these become doubly valuable. So you'll have whatever your stockpile this is. It should be about 60 if you've been close to max efficiency, plus the extra 2000 stability heading in from the end of the day, Thursday and Friday. You're going to be in really good shape. One quick warning though, before I go in where I think you should be farming and in what order, that's a lot of stability to use. So if you're going to be in that position where you're stocking up in such a crazy way, please be prepared to be farming nonstop. Unless you have very fast runs for where you're going to want to farm, with only 48 hours, it's actually going to be hard to use all of that stability. It actually is something I am worried about, so I'm probably going to do a lot of farming in Terramaton. Doki Doki would be super optimal, especially if you're at a very high level, but if you're doing a slow Doki Doki run of 3, 4, 5 minutes, you're probably not going to be able to get through all of this stability. So please keep this in mind. How should you prioritize farming for the double drops? Remember, there's no double drop on Grim Pursuit, so no shells, but we've got it on Threshold, Investigation, and GP Outposts. The first place I think you should farm is the GP Outposts. These are evergreen materials. Almost all of us are going to be maxed out wherever you need to farm at Hell 3. You can see I'm not at Hell 3 yet for Reason and Odd. That's because I haven't done any farming there for over a week now, and then once I knew about this event, I've just been waiting. But as long as you're at Hell 3, this is max efficiency farming. So farm the minimum you need to do for your key characters, right? This is the time to stockpile all of those skill up materials. You can get a little crazy and stockpile further for the future with what characters may come. I would probably do close to the minimum for the key units on your account you're using the most. Next up, I would say the Investigation. Here, I would go for the minimum of your account, but remember, for United Front now, you need to build 9 different units. So I'm not saying farm enough to make 9 different 6 stars, but farm enough to have all the units you want at 5 and 6 star able to get to 5 and 6 star. But I really wouldn't do much more than that. Remember, you can get XP gain passively as long as your unit isn't maxed out and it's farming content. It takes a while, but if you're going to be farming hundreds, if not thousands in the threshold, you will pick up a lot of levels. So do the minimum you can in the investigation. Finally, double drops in thresholds, frickin' unload. Please unload. I will say it will kind of suck if you're like me right now and you're stuck on Hell 2s, but it is my goal of the week to get to at least Hell 3, if not Hell 4, on one of these. Likely it will be Terramaton just because that's going to be the fastest farm. And I think personally, now that I reset my Sonya and I can get my Holden to 5 stars and get him built up nicely, it should be really clean. But definitely make a calculation and do this properly, because this is where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck on your account. The only exception would be if you're much lower. If you're not even at Nightmare 3 yet, this could be really inefficient. And also be sure as you go and you're getting great drops, check the gear, check the modules you're getting, because you might get enough good pieces to make your team strong enough to get to that next level. That's something I'm confident in. So even if I'm stuck at Hell 2 Terramaton at the start of the weekend, I would think at some point in the weekend, I'll at least get to Hell 3 and I can get my 3 Matrix things, maybe even Hell 4. For me, I don't think Inferno is going to happen, but for a lot of you, it might. So definitely make sure you're at an efficient place and then absolutely unload here. Remember my warning though, if your Doki farm is slow as crap, maybe that's not the one you prioritize, or you do it for a chunk on Saturday and then at some point you're going to have to move to a faster farm like Terramaton or Aurora. But there you go, guys. I think I broke down the events in way more detail than I anticipated. Please let me know if this helped you. And again, if you want to start playing Etheria, we've got my link in the description and the top pinned comment. Also, I'm posting content all the time. I'm streaming Etheria on Twitch all the time. Go check it out. Links to that stuff in the description too. Subscribe to the channel. I've been Fastidious. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.